organize to change anything. Test analyst, that's the one who has more skills in the domain, has more skills in test case design, test requirement analysis or something like that. And his task is to do the test case specification. And yeah, there is also a senior level, but the slide wasn't so big enough, and I don't want to show everything in detail. The problem currently also is this reference model is not finished yet. We just in the end we present it on the internet, but it's written in German. Sorry about it. I tried sometime. This is my current translation of that, and I got a native speaker to look over it if it's okay. But you have it in your handout. Take it as it is and use it. Put it to your environment. It shall give you only an idea. Okay. For test analysts, they shall have expertise or knowledge about the domain. There you also have to think about, if you have people who haven't this deep knowledge about the domain, but they have knowledge about test case design, you may train them. Or you have a team. If you have a large domain where you are testing, it's good to have 2 or 3 with deep knowledge of domain, and maybe have some other people which do not have the deep knowledge but have some knowledge and help in test case design. The role description is only to show what are the needs to do the task. And so take it and then fill it with persons, and you see how the map is filled, and if they can work together, and if you can train also people to get the position best. Okay, test engineer, that's the one who does the preparation of test cases, that they are automated or manual or semi-automated be executed. He knows also about the environment, how to access the system, how to get results, and how to manage all this. He is responsible for the implementation and execution. And his requirements are on testing and on IT, how to access this, but he also should have knowledge about the domain, why he does these test cases. Do not see the test engineer as a kind of robot. If you have people, they do not understand what they are doing, they will not find the best failures. And if you have people who don't know about the domain, you should train them before they do testing, because they have also in a test case you describe what's the 80% of the test work you do. But if you do UI or graphical interface testing, you also have to look on, is the color right, is the writing of some parts, is it correct, and so on. And if the people do not understand which usage role they are having, then it's, they will miss defects, and they will not support as best to the project. Test specialist, there might be, there shall be, I think, different kind of specialists. It's a container, take it as a container, and not often you have kind of test engineers which develop over time and get special know-how in some areas. Normally, I often see that the security tester or performance tester has been before a normal tester, and gets more and more knowledge about the problems, how to do security testing or how to do usability testing or something like that. But often you need that people, because to get real experience in performance testing and performance measuring, performance monitoring, that takes some time. You can take because you have to have special knowledge about the IT, how the construction of the IT is, how the requirements from the system are, and so on, to evaluate what are the risk areas of the system which you have to test in performance testing. Is the CPU the problem? Is the network the problem? Is the database the problem? Is the number of parallel users the problem? You have to think about it, and you have to have deep knowledge about IT infrastructure to make the best performance, or to make a reliable performance test on that. Or if you do safety testing, you have to know the regulations to do safety testings. And maybe in Germany we have a lot of regulations. I don't know if it's what's in Malaysia, but I think if you are working in medical software or something like that, but that may hurt people, safety testing is a very important thing. And the regulations are not easy to understand. Okay, test environment coordinator. That's a role that depends a little bit on the environment. You can look on the last word. Is he a coordinator? If you have a test environment established and have maybe an own team for supporting the test environment, then the task is in coordination to look how to access to this environment, how to get the resources to use the environment, and so on. If you build for your project an own test environment, then he is responsible for the whole environment. Then he should have knowledge how to build an environment, how to get access to environment. If he is more a coordinator, he maybe have not as deep knowledge about that, but often he has a larger environment to organize. Okay, test architect. As I said before, test architect is, I see it more as a long-term role. If you have a larger enterprise, you normally have fixed test environments where you can do end-to-end testing to test cooperation or integration of several systems together and so on. And if you have an established test process, and then it's very useful to have people who know the architecture and help the projects to fit best to the existing architecture and existing system environment to do their test cases best. Test data manager. As I said before, test data, it depends on the task of testing. If you have a calculation machine to test, you will not have you have no need for a test data manager. If you have an assurance system for testing or a bank system, you need historic data, you need data which is inside the systems, and you have to think about how to get this information, how to use that information, how to refresh this information and data all the time. And then it may be a special task for someone who has the perfect skills for that kind of problem. Test automation re-engineering. For me, test automation is programming. It's a development project besides the real development project. But it has other design rules. It has to look for the test cases and do the best programming design for this kind of test cases. test automation looks on the test steps as modules, not as a system thing as modules. So a good test automation people have skills in design and programming, but also have skills in testing, or need someone supporting them. If you only have developer for test automation, then they need a kind of coach for their building the requirements for the test case, for the test automation design. Okay, now I showed you the model, but how to use this model in project staffing, or in test team staffing. You can use this model as a checklist, as a reference, and as an idea to build your own model of your test team. And I will now show how I do it. Maybe it's okay for you also. So you can use it for each development project, and you can also use these ideas for building a test organization. Building a test organization for your development, your enterprise, inside, or also for testing as a service. If you build it for testing as a service, you have to think about what's your portfolio to sale. We had a discussion yesterday in the evening, I think, where the people discussed about test as a service, and as Graham Barth mentioned, you have to make a portfolio of what you want to sell, and therefore you need the people, and therefore you can get about thinking about roles and organ teams and you want to build. Because maybe for test as a service, you have clearly to think about if you have special testers for security testing. Because if you have the people if you have the people, you also have to work for them all the day. Maybe for test engineers, for test analysts, you have to work all the year. For security testers, you will not sell them all the year. And so you have to think about what will you sell and what kind of people do you need for that. Today I will go to the first point, team staffing for a project, not for organizational staffing or something like that, but I think you can do it on your own more or less if you understand how to staff a project team. Is that a question? No? Sorry. Okay, test team staffing is a management team. It's an organizational task to do. What do you need? You need the task what you want to test. You need the requirements. You need an idea of the solution, how the solution will look like, and how the solution will be built. Is it an agile project? You will get stepwise a part of the solution, or it's a waterfall approach where we will get a final solution at the end and then start testing or something like that. You will have to think about the development process, as I said, the delivery structure, and of the overall project schedule. Normally, this is prerequisites from the project itself, and then you can work on that. That's the basic. And what you first have to do is to build a kind of test strategy, a test plan, because you have to build up the map, your landscape of work to do, and then you can look for people to do their work. Okay, you have to have kind of test plan with your test levels, with your targets, and also with your schedule to do the tasks, or the different levels of testing, like integration testing, like system testing, and so on. And then, if you have this information available, you can think about work package. What is to do? You have this level of tests. You have maybe your component tests or your integration tests, and your end-to-end tests, and so on. And for me, at each level, I have 4 main tasks, 4 main working packages. First is the test specification, what kind of test cases, or the amount of test cases that I want to do, that I want to execute. That includes requirement analysis, it includes risk analysis, and it includes test case design. Then I have the test running work package. I have to execute test cases, find bugs, get fixes, do retests, and so on, and put all the test results in reporting. And then for executing the thing, I need a test environment. It's more often in larger projects own working package, because it's you have to get hardware or access to the hardware. You have to get test data and all the things. And nevertheless, you need a test organization. You need kind of test management.